There is a story. The first person from whom I heard the story was a man by the name of Yosef Yitzchak Kazin. Yosef Yitzchak Kazin was the founder of what's called Chabad in Cyberspace, which was the forebearer of Chabad.org. So Yossi Kazin told me, personally, that he heard from Yisrael Kozheminsky, personally, that he would visit Chaim Lieberman. Chaim Lieberman was the freidiger Rebbe's secretary. He was very close to the freidiger Rebbe. When he got sick, I remember myself, the Rebbe by Kriyas HaTorah, when they were giving, David Raskin was saying the Misha Beirachs, and the Rebbe says Chaim Ben, whatever his mother's name, for the first time, but the Rebbe says himself to give a Misha Beirach for Chaim Lieberman. The Rebbe himself said, but I was there when it happened. The Bochum used to visit him. So he started coming to 770. He started coming downstairs, hanging out with the guys. And he loved it, and the Bochum loved it. He wasn't lonely anymore. And then something extraordinary especially happened. Chaim Lieberman was a genius, a real genius. He was in charge of the freidiger Rebbe's library, and he started going into the Rebbe. Binyamin Klein was my uncle, told me, one of the Rebbe's secretaries. Rabbi Klein is my wife's uncle, yeah. So he told me personally that when Chaim Lieberman started going into the Rebbe, he would go for 4 or 5 hours at a time. During the day, when the Rebbe didn't see people, he'd walk into 770 with a stack of books, and he'd say, "Can I go in?" And they would ask the Rebbe, and the Rebbe just talked Sfarim with him. It wasn't business. It was pure pleasure. It was pure pleasure. But Chaim Lieberman, on his deathbed, laying on his deathbed, he told the following story, that the Rebbe's mother came to Rostov. I think still Rostov, maybe they didn't get it, but I think it was still Rostov. To the freidiger Rebbe, when the Rebbe was courting the Rebbetzin, Chaim Mushka. And she stayed for a while, for a few weeks. And then she had an appointment with the freidiger Rebbe. And she said to the freidiger Rebbe that my husband has given me permission to agree to the shidduch. My husband's given the authority to decide if I like the shidduch. And she said, I'm prepared to agree to the shidduch. But my husband insists on a condition. The condition is that we have to give our children a dowry. Dowry means money to start off their life, not $10, a lot of money. A chassan like the Rebbe, how much is he worth? How many millions? Huh? So the freidiger Rebbe said to the Rebbe's mother, I have no money. So the Rebbe's mother answered the freidiger Rebbe, quote, Ich mein nicht Geld, ich mein Rabbetzin. My husband's not asking for money. He's asking for a promise for succession. That after you is going to be the Rebbe. So Chaim Lieberman told, Yisrael Kozheminsky, told Yossi Kazin, told me that the freidiger Rebbe said, I agree. So she said to the freidiger Rebbe, I want to have it in writing. And the freidiger Rebbe said, I can't give it to you in writing. Aber Chassidim von allein verstehen. Chassidim will understand themselves. This is the first source that I heard for this story. Later on, the Zalman Garai's family printed a book, which I think is called B'chol Beis Avenue, about Zalman Garai's life, in which you have the same story. The Zalman Garai was a young boy, and his parents died. His father died. He was the Garais were very close to the Shnei, since he grew up in the freidiger Rebbe's house. Freidiger Rebbe raised him. Freidiger Rebbe raised him. And he was in the house when the Rebbe's mother came, and everybody knew the story. That they went into the freidiger Rebbe, and she said to the freidiger Rebbe that I'm coming to negotiate the shidduch. And I don't know whether he in his version of the story mentioned Naden, and the freidiger Rebbe said, I don't have her, that I don't know. But she asked the Rebbe that the Rebbe should guarantee her that Rebbe would be the next Rebbe. The freidiger Rebbe said, yeah. And she said, I want it in writing. And the freidiger said, I can give you in writing. But he gave a different end. Not Chassidim will understand themselves, but, quote, by uns avart is avart. People like us, we give you our word, our word is good. But uns avart is avart, the word is enough. More recently, I heard that this story has been known for years. In other words, it's not a new story. There was a Jew whose name was Sender Reinin. And Sender Reinin was a Jew who was very close to the Rabbeim. He was a clean-shaven man, but he was a very deep person, and he was a big Erel Chayid in his way. He was close to the Rebbe Rashab, he was close to the freidiger Rebbe, he was close to the Rebbe. When he died, the Rebbe eulogized him. The Rebbe never eulogized anybody. The Rebbe made a hesped for him by freidiger. And the Rebbe said, Lo nispet ka'alocha. The Rebbe said, this man passed away and he wasn't adequately eulogized. The Rebbe made push the hesped for him by freidiger. And amongst the things the Rebbe said about this man, Sender Reinin, was that he was very closed, and nobody knew anything about him. And I wanted to know about him, the Rebbe said. Imagine the Rebbe said, I started asking him questions, and he was closed book, he wouldn't tell me anything. And the Rebbe said that he had a packet. In this packet, he carried letters upon him that he had from the Rebbe, something very precious. And he wouldn't let it out of his hands. And he lost it once on a train. And that killed him. He passed away after that. And the Rebbe said about this man, sent it in, and he was a very deep neshama. We don't know who he was. And he was he was without a beard. He wasn't a chassid in the classic term, but he was very close to the Rebbe personally. And he helped the Rebbe a lot. The Rebbe used him in Paris a lot. This sender in and lost his wife. That's how the story is going. And he was very lonely. So the rumor goes, the story goes, that the Rebbe and the Rebbetzin invited him to live in their house. That's how close they were. The Rebbe, you're alone, come live in our house. And he moved into the house. He lived on the third floor, Mistame. He stayed for a few months, and he moved out. I can't live in the Rebbe's house. He was too much of a chassid. I can't live in the Rebbe's house. So then he was back to being lonely again. So the Rebbe arranged that Moshe Herson should live with him. He also was in the house when the Rebbe's mother came to the freidiger Rebbe, and he also told exactly the same stories. In other words, the same story is corroborated from 3 different sources. There's the reason why I'm telling you the story, and it's a simple reason. That somebody asked the freidiger Rebbe, I need this in writing, and the Rebbe says these words, a word that I give you is a good word.
It could also be the reason to say that when you said the other.
It could be he said both. I think he said both. I don't think it's a contradiction. Now, what's the pshat? In Jewish law, in halacha, giving your word has no binding quality. If I say to you, I promise, I have no liability. In Lashon HaShas, pitpuli mili biyalme. In Yiddish, geplappelt. It's just babbling. You can say whatever you want. You're only bound if you make an action. Even a handshake. A handshake is a form of a kinyan. It's not a kinyan 100%, but a handshake has a certain binding quality. But words have no power. But there is a place where words do have a power. When it comes to hektish, amirase legavaya kimesirase lehedyet, which means if I give my word that I'm making this a korban, sheir zuli oila, words are as powerful as actions when it comes to kosher. This is the whole idea of kol nideh. This is the whole idea of ataras nedorah. Where even though halachically, if I give you my word, I don't have to keep it. The Torah says, lo yachal devarei, do not make even your words ordinary. Don't make your words choil. Which is why when it comes to Yom Kippur, we open up Yom Kippur with kol nidrei, because on such a holy day, we want to take a stock not only of our actions, but even if our words are not binding, halachically, I don't have to keep it. If I gave a word, I got to keep it. It says in Sforim, if in Shul they make a bid for aliyas, and you said twice chai, rather I gave in Shul, 1 chai, I have to pay it up. And then somebody else said 3 times chai, and you lost the bid, if you said twice chai, you should give it twice chai, even if you didn't get the aliyah. They said to Sforim, why? You gave your word. Especially in Shul, because Amiras Legavaya, the Shul is considered hektish. Amiras Legavaya, Kamesiras Lehedyet. So most people's words are not binding, except when it comes to hektish. And of course, just to complete the story, when it comes to korbanos in the Beis HaMikdash, even machshava meyalas, the kohen thinks the wrong thought when he's shechting, when he's carrying and collecting and spraying the blood or putting of the emen on the mizbeach. The animal the carbon is possible because of a thought, and it could even be as a kodesh if it's machshava chutz man pigul. So there's 3 levels. When it comes to normal business, only what you do matters. When it comes to giving to hektish, words matter. When it comes to inside the Beis HaMikdash itself, even thoughts matter. Now, what is my point? The freidiger Rebbe says, my words are as good as other people's actions. That's the pshat. By unser Wort is a Wort. A regular person, in other words, freidiger Rebbe wasn't just saying a glach vetel. He wasn't saying, I'm good for my word, like 2 people who are in business say, I'm good for my word. Like Maya Lansky say, I'm good for my word. It's the pshat, my words are like an action because I'm hektish. The freidiger Rebbe is saying, my word is as good as a kinyan. It's as good as a shtar. Not because I'm trustworthy, not because I'm a nice guy, not because I'm not a liar, but because I'm a madrige where words are equal to deed. That's how I understand that story. And that's why I spent 12 minutes and 10 seconds telling the story, is because I wanted to make this point. Now, if the freidiger Rebbe's word is good, you think God's word is good? The Rebbe Sheketavot is not enough. He has to make a covenant. That's the catch of the Maimer. If he says to Noach, I give you my word, I'll never destroy the world, that's enough. If he says to Avraham Avinu, I give you my word, that Yisrael is yours, your children are mine forever, it's enough. If he says to Moshe Rabbeinu, I give you my word, if you'll say the Slicha, I'm going to respond, it's enough. What do you need a covenant for?